Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Tea, and I'm T. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm so happy to be here. So blessed to wake up this morning and just be in my right mind. So you guys know that on Mondays now on hashtag Coffee with Tea, we do Men Hurt Too, my series, Man Convo Monday, where we have a special guest, an incredible Black man who comes on and shares his truth. And the disclaimer is, he is here to speak from his perspective, his experiences, his life skills, and not for every man, but just from the experience that he's had in this life. So today I have a very, y'all know I gotta sip my coffee. Hold on, because this is why we here, because it's Coffee with Tea. So we have a very special guest. I have with me today Mr. Edward Smith, and Meet the Smiths is, he's certified, prepared, and rich facilitators in premarital and marital counseling, certified relationship educators by the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists, Amazon best-selling authors, radio talk show hosts, and recipients of the Monroe County Image Award for written expressions. Edward and Debbie Smith give new meaning to the term power couple with a foundation built on their belief in God. They enthusiastically embrace their mission to help others reach their full potential in life. Edward and Debbie are business partners, friends, and lovers. Together, they are parenting 2 teenagers while building their business, leading out couples ministry at their local church, and growing as a family of life educators. Edward and Debbie both understand the devastating effects of divorce from their personal experiences. Because of this, they are determined to become the champions for successful marriages. They understand that strong marriages lead to strong children and families, which lead to strong churches, which lead to strong communities. Welcome, Mr. Edward Smith. I'm so excited to have you here.
It's a delight to be here today.
How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm staying quarantined. You know, whomever wants to go outside and get themselves exposed, good for you. I am chilling.
So again, everybody, welcome to Coffee with Tea. I'm T. I'm here with Mr. Edward Smith. And our topic today are Black marriages failing because Black men lack leadership skills and the ability to commit. So where I start every week, every Monday with my special guest is, tell me a little bit about your background, how you grew up, a little bit about your parents, your father, your mother, and just the foundation of Edward.
Well, hey, but first, as you can hear from this crazy accent, I'm a Jamaican. I grew up in Jamaica. Not just that I grew up in Jamaica, but I grew up in the countryside of Jamaica. You know, I'm a country boy. And so, you know, grew up with just my mom. I met my dad when I was 24.
Wow.
And I was delighted to meet him. I did not, from what I can remember, I did not approach him. Why did you leave? You know, I did not have that anger, because in Jamaica, growing up as a child in my era, it is customary for the dad not to be at home. And yes, ma'am. It is very customary for the dad not to be at home. It is also customary for, even if the dad is at home, the dad has, you know, 2 or 3 mistresses, you know, somewhere down the road and all that stuff. And the wife would know about it, but never do flare-ups or anything. It's just what it is. You know, were they angry? I'm pretty sure that they were. But you know, it's just what it is. So then, you know, I never had a societal impression around me to say, well, Ed, this is the way you should act, or this is the way you should behave because your dad is not in the home. This is you should be angry with him. You should be. Just never had that. You know, I just embrace it as a way of life. And so I just stayed in the house and I helped my mom. I was my mom's husband, for lack of a better word, because, you know, I was the one who would help her with everything around the house, you know, the washing, the cleaning, the cooking,
Right.
You know, making sure my younger brothers and sisters are good and all that stuff. And so that's my life in Jamaica until I finished high school, went to college. After college, joined the military, and that's where I learned most of my discipline. Then after that, I came to this country. I came to this country at the age 27.
Wow.
27, you know, and so that was what, 1988, and so came here and lived with my dad. And
Oh,
when I lived with him, watch this, when I lived with him, I saw things in him that I saw in myself. Never knew. I saw things in him that I saw in myself, and I said to myself, oh, I don't want that. Oh, I don't like that. So my dad became the mirror for who I was, or for who I was becoming, you know, and I was able to see that and said, wow, I don't want that. And so I was able to be intentional of making some change and try to be a better person.
wow. Woo! We can just end it right there. Listen, I would never ever think, because, you know, I don't know the Jamaican culture, but I
Right.
would never think that it would be okay for anybody to have mistresses. Because, you know, I have a movement called #NoSideChicken, where I
Mm.
encourage women to honor, guard, and respect each other's relationships, because I believe it starts with us as women. So what kind of woman was your mother? Because I know you live with your mom, so you got a lot of influence from her. So what
Mhm.
kind of woman was she? Because we're going to talk about leadership.
Right.
So talk about that just a little.
Well, she was definitely an introvert, right? You know, you could never read her face. She has like one of those poker face. You could never read her face and tell that she is in pain.
Oh,
But no, growing up as an adult, I knew that she was in pain because I remember things. And so she was a person who leads by example. You know, whatever it is that she asks me to do, whatever it is that she tells us to do, or encourage us to do as children, she would lead by example. You
wow.
know, and she never waver. She never, you know, she stayed consistent. You know, sometimes, you know, I really think that she could ease up a little bit. And she would say to me, son, I can't, because I made a promise. I made a promise and I asked you to do this. And because I asked you to do this, then I have to lead by example. So that's just who she was. And she stayed the course. I tell you this, she was not an educated woman,
Right.
but again, you could never tell, because that she was laser focused.
Wow.
Laser focused. Yep.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about leadership and Black men. And our topic today is, are black marriages failing? And I know you and your wife do a lot to help marriages be successful. So are Black marriages failing because Black men lack leadership skills? Because in society right now, I feel like, and I'm an advocate for Black men. I love Black men. I have 3 sons, 25, 20, and 10 years old. And I hear like so much negativity being thrown at Black men don't do this and Black men don't do that. Are Black marriages failing? And I'm asking this question because I hear women say this, because Black men lack leadership skills.
Well, I don't think it's that we lack leadership skills. Well, you know, honestly, it's kind of yes. But here's what it is. I would not call it leadership skills. I would call it abandonment skills.
Oh,
And the reason why, you know, because and so this thing is about men hurt too. Well,
yes.
the first hurt that we experience in our life is abandonment hurt. You know, we have been abandoned by our dad, you know,
Wow.
or by our mother, but we're talking about dad right now. We have been abandoned by our dad. So whenever we've been abandoned, you know, what dad is saying to us is that we were not valued enough for me to stay around.
Mm.
Get that? I
Yeah.
was not valued enough for you for my dad to stay around. You know, I don't deserve the 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 stick to itiveness that I should be given, you know, so that I may stick it out and stay with my family and teach my family core values, teach my family morals, and my son is going to be a man soon, so I need to teach him how to be a man. And so, you know, these things we never get, so we equate them with hurt, and so the first one is abandonment. And so now we are hurt, and we start our relationship, our marital relationship, from a hurt place, because
Mm.
most of us never go for therapy or anything like that. And because we start our relationship from a hurt place, the moment something happened in our marital relationship, we ghost, because that's what we know. We learned that from our dad. So bottom line, that's what it is. But if we become intentional, though, Trey, if we become intentional by saying, I don't want that experience for my current family, that of which I experienced in my childhood. And if we become intentional of changing some things and said, by the grace of God, comes what may, I am going to be there for my family, I can change it, the focus of everything.
Right.
And so that's what it is. Our marriage are failing simply because we suffer from what I call give-up-itis. It's my word, give-up-itis.
I like it.
We give up so easily, and because that's what we learned as a child, to give up, to walk away. That's the easiest way out, and to start something new. But we don't realize that once we go out and we start something new, I have a saying that goes like this: if you take the bricks from the home that you built and bring it over to build a new home, actually you're building the same home that you left.
Oh, this is good. This is good. So you said if Black men, and we're talking about Black men right now, if you just tuned in the hashtag Coffee with T, and we have our Man Convo Monday for our series Men Hurt Too. I'm here with Mr. Edward Smith. And you said if we are intentional, if Black men are intentional to say, I don't want this to happen to my family, I can change that dynamic. How does that begin to change? Because you don't know how to shift.
Right. So great question. How does that begin to change? Well, because you're hurt, inside you're crying, inside you're just bursting with tears. And so it's an internal pain. So you have to first go somewhere and that can give you the medication for that internal pain.
Right.
Because if you don't satisfy that internal pain, eventually you will be vomiting that pain on someone else.
Whoa.
And so you can't afford to do that. So you have to go and take care of that pain first, because hurt people only hurt people.
Yes.
Right. And so in order for me not to hurt you, Trey, watch this. In order for me not to hurt you, I first have to understand that I need to come to you pain-free.
Oh.
I have to come to you pain-free. And when I'm talking about pain-free, I'm talking about from a place of being a whole person. And so now that I am whole, when I'm coming and I'm starting a relationship with you, I can hear you clearly. I can see you through 3D and not from a fog mirrored place, because the pain is fogging up what I'm seeing. I can see clearly, I can hear you clearly, I can understand you clearly, I can empathize and sympathize with whatever it is that you're going through, because I've had that experience, and I can now share with you what is it that you need to do to rid yourself of that pain yourself.
Wow, that's how you lead. And Mr. Edward just said, because we're talking about are Black marriages failing because of the Black men lack leadership skills. He says they do not lack leadership skills. In case you just came in, they have abandonment issues, which looks like they lack leadership skills. So let's keep this moving, because this is so good. What makes the man the head of the household?
Wow. So great question again. I think that, a lot of times when we talk about the head of the household, right, we equate that with our workplace, and, I am the boss. So I am going to be autocratic. I am going to be the dictator and tells you what to do. Leadership simply means that you lead by example. And a good leader, a good head of the household is someone who knows how to submit themselves.
Whoa!
Right? You have to know how to submit yourself, because first of all, I can't lead you if mm. Can I speak Bible if you don't mind?
Yes.
I don't know. A lot of people don't like when it's there. But here's what it is. You and I are the blueprint of God, right? And for the rest of our life, I will never understand you. You will never understand me fully. So in order for me to be the head of my household and lead you, I have to be able to, to, to submit myself to be led by someone else, which is Christ Jesus. You know,
Yes.
I said, I have to go to him on a daily basis and said, I need to learn how to lead Trey, God, but I don't know how. You understand me? Trey is your blueprint. Teach me how to read your blueprint so I can go and build the foundation, so I can go and build a home that you're desiring for me to build. You know, and so as long as I am building, I will never be able to understand the blueprint fully, because as long as I have a blueprint master, I always have to go to him to teach me how to lead a blueprint. Because as I'm building and I'm looking at the blueprint, there are times that I'm going to have bumps in the road. There are going to be times that I come to an impasse where I can't figure it out. So I need to go to him and said, Father, how do I do this? You know, and so the first thing that a man needs to have is to be able to know how to submit. And it is okay. Watch this. It is okay sometimes to lead from behind.
Oh, that's my favorite thing to tell women. I tell women all the time. It's okay for us to lead from behind. We're so busy. Society has got us into a competition with our men. And we're busy. He doesn't listen and he won't do this. And I tell women because I coach women, I say, listen, all you have to do is make a suggestion from behind. Either he's going to accept it or he's not. But 9 times out of 10, if it's a good suggestion, he'll do it and he'll be the leader. Like women have to understand, we have to understand that there's a respect level for men. And you could talk about that too. There's a respect level.
Come on.
Still diminished if we try to lead instead of making a suggestion, say, no, this is what you're going to do. So talk a little bit about respect in a relationship that allows a man to lead.
Well, men interpret love as respect.
Oh.
Okay. Women interpret love with emotions and all that stuff. Men interpret love as respect. The more you respect him is the more he's saying, oh my gosh, she loves me. You know, and let me talk about some ways of how you how men can feel disrespected. Right. If you tell a man that you're dating another guy, right, he feels disrespected. If you criticize him in front of his friends and all that stuff, that's a form of disrespect for him. You know, if you insult his job that he has, you know, that's a form of disrespect for him. If you become flirtatious with other guys in his face, you know, that's a form of disrespect for him. If you call him derogatory names, that's a form of disrespect for him. Men has something that is called ego, and it is as fragile as a woman's heart.
Whoa! Oh, I gotta write that down.
You know, that's just what it is. We have something that is called ego, and it is as fragile as a woman's heart. And as as my wife or the person of whom I am with, you know, you have to find a way to stroke my ego. You know, watch this. And we blamed the mama for this. Now I'm going somewhere with this. When we were a child, you know, the first step we made as a child, our mother applaud us, yay, great, da, da, da. You know. So now we grew up into a young boy, and we are on the soccer field of baseball. So the first goal we shoot, you know, yay, applaud. And all through our lives, our mother have been applauding us. You know, you do a recital, applaud, hey, and the first A you got in class, yeah, you know, so applaud. Now you become a man, and you now take on a wife, you're still looking for that applause.
Oh, teach today. Teach.
You are still looking for that applaud. This is the reason why there's this guy that Gary Chapman, I think, talk about the 5 love languages, but and he will talk about everybody love language is not the same. But for a man, one I can't remember the love language right now that I'm trying to get at, but one of the love language that I know men love is to talk to him, tell him about how good he's doing this, how good he's doing that, and all that stuff. Because if you don't encourage a man will have no desire to want to continue in the relationship. As I'm talking, I just remember another thing that I want to say, and this one is very, very big, Trey. We're talking about disrespect. When you tell a man how lousy he is in bed, that is a disrespect to him.
Wow.
So instead of telling that man how lousy he is in bed, babe, I like it when you do this. I prefer when you do that. Babe, why don't we try this? So you have different ways of approaching things as opposed to say, you're just lousy.
Right.
So those are the things that happens, that causes men to feel hurt. And whenever we are hurt, then, again, we do what is best. Well, most of us, not everybody, do what is what they know best. Ghost.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Right. That was so good. Listen, if you just tuned in, you're tuned into #Coffee with T, and I'm T. And today we do our series Men Hurt Too. We have a conversation with a very intelligent man who comes on and shares his truth. We start with their foundation and we build up to things. And it's their opinion and it's their experiences in life to teach us. And this is just not about women, because there's so many platforms where it's just about women. Why is he doing this? Why does he do this? Is about getting to know the heart of men, that they are human beings first. So we're going to keep it moving because this is really good. So we hear this phrase, a man is single until he's married, even if he's in a committed relationship, right? So you have a man who's engaged or a man who has a girlfriend that he's been with for years, and you hear people saying a man is single until he's married. Is this a concept that we should be following? Because there are steps to get into a marriage. So there's the courting, there's the commitment, there's the engagement, and then there's the marriage. So how should we look at that as far as a man is concerned? Is this the way that he thinks? I'm single until I'm married?
Well, man, you're hitting me with some crazy questions this morning. I love it though.
Sorry, we need to know these things.
So here's what it is. Let us look at marriage for what marriage is.
Right.
A lot of times, marriage is, so we're talking about someone, let us be clear first and talk about someone who is into a monogamous relationship. Marriage is something that takes place before the wedding. I'm gonna slow that down. Marriage is something that takes place before the wedding. Let me unpack that. The Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favors from the Lord. Well, you are a wife before I marry you.
Whoa! Somebody better get that.
You are a wife before I marry you. And let me try to unpack that. If I cannot go to the store, Trey, and I can't pick up a watermelon and call it a mango. It is a watermelon. So not because I'm call it a mango means that it is a mango. It is a watermelon. The Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. The presence of a ring does not make you a wife. The presence of your character, your personality, your value system, that's what makes you a wife.
Whoa.
Now, I found that in you. When I marry you, you became my wife.
Whoa. Woo.
I hope somebody get that, because again, I want to say this. You are a wife before I marry you. When I marry you, you became my wife.
Mm.
Your wife is your wife character. Your wife is your value system, your personality, your character, who you are. That's what I'm looking for. That's why the Bible says, he that finds. That's what I'm looking for. I was looking for someone who has this character, this value system, this and all this stuff. I found it in you. So I said to myself, this woman, Trey, is a wife. Let me go and marry her. Now you became my wife.
Right. Yes.
Make sense?
Yes.
So the question that you ask, I can't understand why people would, just embrace that, because it does not make sense.
No, it doesn't. Thank you. Ladies, I hope that the ladies heard that. You are a wife before he marries you. Just like when you go to the supermarket and see a watermelon, it was a watermelon before you walked into the supermarket. It didn't change because you picked it up. It was already that thing. So ladies, please, when we're ready, he will show up, and he who finds a wife finds a good thing, because we done went to church over here. Okay, This is the next question. Do Black men suffer from commitment phobia?
No.
And I'm not even talking about just relationships. I'm talking about being committed to things in life.
It kind of yes and kind of no, and it all depends again on how you grew up. I grew up as a child, not knowing how to do a lot of things, but I was taught how to do a lot of things, and the things that I was taught, it causes me to exercise patience to get it together. And so now as a man, I understand patience, I understand commitment, I understand all these things that it requires to see things through to its completion. One of the things that I'm concerned about this generation today, Trey, is, and I say this to my children, and they hate when I say this, you guys are living in a microwave world, and everything need to be boom, 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 boom. There is not much that is around that is teaching you how to stick to a situation to its completion. If you're doing a math problem and it's giving you some issue, you want to move on to something else.
Right.
If you're fixing something around the house and it's giving you some difficulties, you want to move on to something else. So it's just a matter of how you were brought up. It's just a matter of as to what things you had in your life as a child that teaches you patience, that teaches you stay the course until its completion. So it's not a matter. I don't think it's a Black man thing, but I think it's just something that both men and women lack, because of how we were brought up.
Wow. Listen, I don't even know what to say to you today, because you done killed me right now. I just got so much information right now. You said we lack commitment to make it to completion. And when things get hard, and this is what's going on in relationships, because you're really opening my eyes, because I know that you and your wife are relationship experts. And this is why I wanted to talk about this. Not that we're going to want to make all this about relationships, but when relationships get hard, like you said, the math problem get hard, you want to move on. The recipe get hard, you want to move on. When the relationship gets hard, you want to move on. So you're married. How long have you been married?
13 years.
13 years. What is it that makes you, and I know this is your second marriage?
Yes.
Okay, because you guys talk about divorce and the next marriage. What makes this different, this commitment different than the first one? Because I don't know if it's growth. I don't know. So just tell me that, because I know a lot of my married friends who are in their second marriage are thriving as opposed to their first. And they got married when they were young. So Let's talk about the dynamic of the first marriage and why the second marriage is so successful.
Yeah, but you know, I'm gonna make this statement, and for those that are listening may feel as though, you know, I'm being disrespectful to my wife, but it's not, because this is something that we teach all the time in our workshops and stuff. The things, Trey, watch this, the things that I know about marriage now, had I known about it in my first marriage, I would have still been married to my first wife.
Right. I got you.
So I'm not going to blame my first wife, you know, in about anything, or, you know, I look into the mistakes that I made, what I did not bring to the table, the things that I could have done better, and I did not do better. So what I did when I got out of the marriage, I went and better myself before I start a relationship. I looked in the mirror and I said, Ed, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. And I never focused on what my ex-wife did. And I went and better myself and understand and allow myself to understand more about what marriage should entail. And I took that and I brought that to my current marriage.
Wow. So let's talk about marriage. And I'm just bringing these things to you because I know, like I said, you do relationship stuff, and I read your bio.
Absolutely.
And I talked your page and stuff, you and your wife, so I can have my good questions. A lot of people say it's just a piece of paper, a marriage license. They like, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of. How important is really the commitment and the marriage?
But you know, it amazes me when people says, you know, marriage is just a piece of paper. But so is money. Money is a piece of paper. But we get up every day and we do our 9 to 5. We commit ourselves to that piece of paper for 20 years, for 30 years, for 40 years. We commit ourselves to that piece of paper. Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a piece of paper that is more valuable than money. And it's called that marriage license. If you give that focus, if you give 50% of that focus to that quote unquote piece of paper marriage, you know, it will be just as successful as your money paper, you know, it is. You know, marriage is maybe just a piece of paper, but you're not married to a piece of paper, you're married to someone. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The government, the state, the country just give you a piece of paper to say that you're legally married, but the paper means not much, right? Is the person, is the covenant that you have made with the person, not with the paper. So if you stay focused on the covenant that you have made with the person, you will be able to stay in your marriage, right? I can't even tell you where my marriage cert is right now. Yeah, because that means nothing to me, but I can tell you where my wife is.
Oh,
you know, because that's where my loyalty lies. That's where my covenant lies. The person and not the paper. So if you do a paradigm shift and stop looking at the paper and look more on the person, you will understand that the person is worth staying with until death do you part.
Wow. And like you said, people will go to a job, they will have a boss that disrespect them, that talks crazy to them, that dock them for coming to work for 3 minutes late, but they won't put that same commitment into a marriage. If the person says something out of line, because in any relationship, we all have bad days.
Absolutely.
About you have a blended family.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to loving people, and I say this all the time. For me, I love everybody. It's easy to love people. The problem is, the hard thing is to stay in like, because we ready to leave when we don't like somebody no more. I love you, but I'm ready to leave. How do you manage to get past those feelings of I don't like, because sometimes I don't like my kids, and I'm just saying I love them, but sometimes I don't like them. And they're a part of me forever. But how do you stay into that with your wife?
Well, wow. So let me, and I like the fact that you're talking about love and like, right? But love supersede like, you know, so love become the foundation, So whenever I don't like you, I still stay the course because I love you. Get
Right.
that? So let us unpack love for a little bit. You know, when you can tell love, watch this, when you can tell love when to stop loving, then it was never love at all.
Oh,
right? When you can tell love when to stop loving, it was never love at all. Because love is a foundation love is the foundation of which you build your house on. There are times, as you said, that I don't like my children. There are times I don't like my wife. But I stay the course because I love her. You know, and so even when I don't like her, you know, I will sit and talk to her about the things that I don't like. You know, let's talk about the things that I don't like, because you know, sometimes we go into marriages and relationship and, you know, oh, he's the perfect one for me, or she's the perfect one for me, and think that we're not going to have an argument, you know. But I'm here to tell you that there are no such thing as an argument free relationship. It's just not, you know, what we need to do is to focus on the issue that is causing focus on the problem that's causing the issue in the relationship and try to resolve them, right? And if we focus on resolving the issue and not the person, right? A lot of times we try to resolve the person, and the issue is still standing in the middle of both of you and said, I need to be resolved, resolve me. But I'm so busy resolving the person. This is why your mama says this. This is why your family says this. And so now I start to attack your character, your personality, who you are. You understand me? But never resolve the issue. But if we resolve the issue together, we can remove the issue so we can go back to what we call oneness in the relationship. And that is so important. However, I'm here to tell you that not every issue in a relationship is resolvable, but the ones that you cannot resolve, you have to learn how to manage them.
Right. Oh.
Right. And especially now in a blended relationship. In a blended relationship, it's a whole different type of dynamics that comes, because you're coming in a relationship under, you know, the children. Oftentimes, depending on the age that the children are, when you get into the relationship, the children may never embrace you. The children may never embrace you. And that is okay, because you need to understand that a divorce to children is like a death. It's like a member of your body being severed, and the pain that the children are feeling is their pain. It is not your pain. Right? And so as the non-biological parent, your job is to ease them through the pain and not creating additional pain on them.
Right.
So you cannot come into the relationship expecting that you're going to be the authoritarian in the relationship and become the boss. Your job as a non-biological parent is to create relationship with them.
Wow.
Right? Leave the discipline to the biological parent. You may see some things in the children, bring that to the biological parent and let that biological parent do the discipline. Your job is to create relationship. I always say, Trey, rules and regulations without relationship leads to rebellion. So if you come in as a non-biological parent and you're given a lot of rules and regulations and what you think that child should be doing, but you never take time to build a relationship with them, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to rebel.
Wow.
They're going to rebel. So you as a non-biological parent have to be intentional again. And I love to use that word intentional, because in order for some things to work, you have to be intentional about them. You have to be intentional in setting the stage with the non-biological child. You know, you have to learn to date the child, go one-on-one date with them, because
right.
You're building relationship, right? You know, do group dates with them, have family moments with them, you know, talk to them about their pain, what hurts them, Let them know you're not here to replace your dad, or but you're here to do the best that you can. One of the things that I do with my family, my stepchildren, I never refer to them as step anything.
Right.
I refer to them as my children. And the reason why I do that, Trey, is because it is my opinion that whenever you said my stepchildren, subliminally, you have created a separation in your head.
Right.
Between you and the children. And because you have created that, your behavior towards them, you're behaving towards them with that separation that you're creating in your head, not realizing that you're actually doing it.
Right. And someone over here said, what if the biological parent is not handling the discipline responsibility?
So no two parents parent alike, whether you're biological or not, right? No two parent alike. And so you need to approach it the same way you would have approached it if the father were the biological parent. You cannot allow your children to see that you are in disagreement. You cannot, behind closed door, babe, I did not like, the way you did this, and talk through a process. Once you talk through the process, come to a common conclusion, and then you go back out and you discipline the children accordingly.
Wow. So it's 9:40 and we are past our time, but I got one more question. So if you don't mind to stay a little bit longer.
Let's go, sis.
Okay, so my next thing is, in leadership takes communication. What is how can I say this? Why is it hard for men to communicate? What is that thing? Like, it's really, I talk to so many women who say that communication in their relationship is the most major issue that they have. Why is it so hard for men to communicate?
So this is something that I teach also in my workshop. So for a man.
I'm sorry, hold on for one second. This is Dr. Edward Smith that is speaking right now. This is #Coffee with Tea if you just tuned in, because they're asking who you are. This is #Coffee with Tea, and on Mondays, I do my series Men Hurt Too, where we have Man Combo Mondays. You can hashtag MCM, where we have Man Combo Mondays. And today we have Dr. Edward Smith with us, who is talking about leadership in Black men. So now we're going on to communication. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So if you were to open up, and this is the easiest way I try to explain it. If you were to open up a man's brain and look at it, you would probably see men's brain has different compartments, right? And so whenever you're talking to a man about his lack of taking out the garbage on garbage day, and so you said to him, babe, I need to talk to you about taking out the garbage. What that man is doing, he pulled out that drawer that has to do with garbage, and so he's dealing with the garbage, right? And so once we deal with the garbage, he closes it back, and stuff like that. But for a woman brain now, everything is connected. Make sense? Everything is connected. And so you come to me and you're talking to me about the garbage, but before the conversation finishes, you have touched on the garbage, you have touched on the dishes that not been washed, you have touched on the laundry that has not been done, you have touched on $200 that has been missing out of the joint account. You have touched on so many stuff. And so, I'm not trying to paint the picture that, we're dummies, and we can't handle whatever, but men are resolvers. We like to resolve things. And so talk to me about the garbage and let me resolve the garbage. Then you talk to me about the plates in the kitchen and I will resolve that. But the thing is that most of the time, most of us shuts down because you come into us with a plethora of things and we don't know which one it is that should be priority that we need to resolve and close. And so, so I would recommend to you, to all the females that are out there that, choose one thing, one topic, and come to your husband or your spouse with that one thing, and let us talk about that and let us resolve it.
Thank you.
Right?
I love it. Yes. So, and we think, and this is so good for me too, because I'm always trying to learn. I'm not trying to figure this out by talking to a group of women about what men think. This is why I do Men Hurt Too on Mondays, because you guys are giving me so much information for me to just have peace with men as human beings. Because I have my sons, and even with the communication with them, I'm like, I told you to do this, I told you to do that, I told you to do that, and nothing got done. So now I understand, even with my sons, because we want this to be about being able to communicate with men from many different levels, mother and son, sister and brother, aunt and nephew, husband and wife. So we want to learn how to communicate with all men. So that was really helpful for, I'm sure, me and all the other women. So ladies, what he said, well, this is the point that we need to take with us. Instead of being angry, we need to say, okay, nothing got done. Now that we know this, let me just go back and talk about the $200 that's missing out of the savings account. Where did that money go? So on that note, this is going to be my last question. On that note, what if he don't want to talk about that?
Well, I can tell you this much, you know, Trey, and and I may get into some problems, but it's okay. A man that value his relationship will always want to have a conversation with his spouse. I'm gonna say that again. A man that value his relationship will always want to have a conversation with his spouse. He may not want to have a conversation with his spouse right at the moment because, you know, he may be angry about something, or, you know, but a man that value his relationship will say something like this: Trey, you know, at this moment, I don't want to talk about that $200. Can you give me 45 minutes? Can you give me an hour? We will revisit this conversation and we will talk about it. But you know, and so he will, and so as a wife, you said, okay, no problem, I'll give you an hour. And so that hour is up, you come back and you talk about it, because what we don't want to do is to resolve issue from an angry place.
Right.
Because once we're trying to do it from an angry place, you know, we may blow that out of proportion, and it becomes something more than resolution. Right. So, you know, a man will always want to talk to his spouse, you know, but if he feels as though, you know, the Bible tells us that it is better to live in the corner of a housetop than in a house with a nagging woman, right? The Bible says that. I did not say that, you know. So if he finds that you are a nag, he may want to, he will just shut down. He will just shut down and want to say nothing. But, you know, you have to find place where you can. My wife knows my weak spot, you know. She knows that, you know, the moment she lays her head in my lap, and, you know, and I'm stroking her hair and whatever it is, you know, she have me at that comfort place where she can say, babe, I have something to say to you. Right. And so she will say it. And so I will give her the best answer there, because I'm at my comfort zone. But a lot of times, female wants to have a conversation with a man when he's watching his baseball game. You know, don't do that. You know, when he's at a place where he's in a, listen, I talk about our brain and how it has different compartment of boxes. We have our favorite box that we call the nothing box. Right. Right. And you see a man sitting down here and just chilling, and you say, babe, what are you thinking about? And he says nothing. You know, you look at him like, nothing. And honestly, he actually means that he's thinking about nothing. He's just chilling, you know. But to a woman, how could you be thinking about nothing? Because your brain, you're always thinking about something. Something is always on your brain. And that nothing box is the favorite place for the man. Wow. This has been, I really enjoyed this Man Combo Monday a lot. Like, you have really dropped some nuggets. The people are commenting on the different platforms of saying, one of them said timing, and as soon as he said timing, you said
This
Yeah,
time is important. You got to wait. Maybe he needs
absolutely.
45 minutes to process things. So this has been so amazing, Dr. Edward Smith, and I call you doctor because my respect level for you is very high. And I
Thank
want
you.
you to tell the people where they can find you, where they can find your books, and what's next for you.
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I always put out something that I call food for thought. You go and read it. I come up with these crazy thoughts, and of course all of it is centered around marriage or dating, and I put it up for you to read it, and and I welcome your comment, and it's something that I put up for us to have a conversation. So I'm on Facebook, under Edward Smith. I'm on Instagram, under Simia11, and that's just about it. I have a YouTube page called Monday Mornings with the Smiths. My wife and I, we do a radio show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We do a lot of workshops. We do a lot of workshop, United States and out of the country. This coming October, if Corona permits us, we are doing a Mediterranean cruise workshop. That is something that I'm excited about. To date, we have almost 200 people signed up for it.
Wow.
Yeah, so we do a lot of workshops in and out of the country. February of next year, we got called to do a 7-day workshop in Dubai. That's something that I'm excited about as well, because Dubai is on my bucket list, so, and so that's what we do. We are just always doing workshops. How to find my book. So I have 3 books. The first book is called The 5-Star Marriage. The other book is called The 5-Star Wife, The 5-Star Husband. And we're just talking about and we equate that to a 5-star hotel, and if you, and what does a 1-star hotel looks like versus a 2-star hotel or 3-star hotels? What are the amenities, versus a 5-star hotel? Now, if you were to take those amenities and you were to equate it to a marriage relationship, what should a 5-star marriage look like versus a 1-star marriage or a 2-star marriage? So that's where the concept comes from. And we have another book. It's called I'm Not Leaving, a look inside my blended family, where we were open and transparent. We were black and white in that. And all 3 books are on Amazon. 2 of them became Amazon bestseller within 30 days. Thank God for that. So, you could just search my name, Edward and Debbie Smith, and the books will come up. Or you could search for the books on their names, and they should come up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edward Smith. They're asking, you can find out about the Mediterranean cruise on his Facebook page. I think I saw it there. And you can look, get more information from Facebook. Follow, friend, and like Edward Smith, Edward and Debbie Smith, and you can get all the information that you need. I have been blessed to have you in my presence, and I thank you so much for doing this, not only for me, but for all the people listening, because you gave so many gems, jewels, and nuggets that I'm sure this helped somebody. And I always say, if this helped one person, I did what God called me to do. So thank you guys for tuning in to #Coffee with T. Remember what I tell you at the end of all my broadcasts. You deserve the best. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve the best. Now go get it. And remember Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. I will see you guys on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Coffee with T, and that's me. Peace. Thank you, Dr. Edward. I will see you soon.
Thank you. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.